Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clark on YouTube. Oh no! I think one of the greatest opportunities life presents us with the chance of is creating amazing content for everybody who may be a fan of Descendants, who may be a fan of zombies, who may be a fan of High School Musical. And I think that's one of the greatest opportunities that I look forward to as a creator is to reach out to so many people who are huge fans of this. And I know there are over 10 million fans who are always searching up Descendants and zombies content every day. And I'm really excited about 2025 because of the world tour of Descendants and Zombies coming together in different arenas across the United States. They have so many dates announced for this world tour. You're going to want to sign up for the Descendants Zombies World Tour newsletter to keep up to date on what's happening with that. But I've always been a huge fan of musicals too. And because I've been a huge fan of musicals, that's why the success of Descendants and Zombies has really jumped out at me as a YouTube creator. I have been a fan of musicals all the way back to Hocus Pocus. That was in 1993. And ever since the success of Hocus Pocus in 1993, which was one of the most successful Halloween movies of all time, we've seen things like High School Musical, we've seen things like Hannah Montana explode. And I remember how High School Musical became the most successful Disney Channel franchise of all time. By 2008, when we saw the finale of the series, so many people were overcome with emotion. They didn't want to see the characters Troy and Gabriella go. But you know, for me, High School Musical was a movie that, if not for the success of, all the other Disney Channel movies would have probably failed off into obscurity. And that is literally a fact because of the success of it. I remember watching High School Musical as a guy in his 20s, sitting in the back of a movie theater and being overcome with emotion because of just how talented the characters were, how phenomenal the story was, and how we got expansion after expansion from edition to edition of High School Musical. It was unbelievable, and the merchandise that was being sold for it was truly unprecedented. But the fact remains that if not for the success of High School Musical and Kenny Ortega's direction, probably every other Disney Channel project would have failed off into obscurity, which is something that cannot be forgotten about. I was also a huge fan of Hannah Montana years ago. The success of Hannah Montana was absolutely unparalleled, and it blew my mind every single time how Miley could come out and she could tell a story on stage, and everybody was just immediately hooked on the story she was telling in relating to her songs and her music. And I really think that Hannah Montana just was an amazing character with so much of an inspirational talent that is still affecting so many lives from all walks of life. Everybody has been inspired by some Disney character from some musical, and they've never forgot them because of it. And I find time in appreciating that kind of stuff. I was always a huge fan of Hannah Montana. I was always a huge fan of High School Musical. And I also really appreciate the questions that the cast of Descendants have been asked by the media. Like, who are your favorite Disney characters? What is your favorite Disney song? What is your favorite Disney princess? I really appreciate that. And I also really appreciate the emotion they put behind that. I know that Kylie Control was a huge fan of The Lion King. She was a huge fan of Cinderella. And, you know, consequently, I was too, because I was always a huge fan of The Lion King. I remember how significant of a song on the soundtrack Hakuna Matata was. Hakuna Matata was probably one of the best songs that they could have ever put on a soundtrack, and I actually have a video of Hakuna Matata actually on my Facebook page that I actually listen to at least multiple times throughout a day because it really lifts your spirits. It makes you happy no matter what you're going through. And Disney's always had this unique ability of being able to touch all of our hearts because of just how phenomenal the music is that's included with the movie. I mean, I remember how significant those songs were. They touched my heart time and time again. I was also a huge fan of Cinderella, believe it or not. Every time I was sick, I'd always sit in front of my TV in the living room and I'd watch Cinderella, the original animated classic from the 50s, with a bowl of chicken noodle soup trying to recuperate from the cold. And I love that. One of my favorite scenes from Cinderella was always the scene where the mice were helping her prepare her ball gown to go to the ball to meet Prince Charming. And then here comes the live action in 2015, and Lily May did such a phenomenal job portraying the character Cinderella. She was one of the most lifelike Disney princesses of all time. I know there herself and Emma Watson, who portrayed Belle in Beauty and the Beast in 2017, because Beauty and the Beast came a couple of years after Cinderella in 2015. It was one of the most easy Disney live actions to make. So, of course, they made the easiest ones first, Maleficent, which you wouldn't think would be the most simplest, simpletic Disney live action to make. And then here comes Cinderella. But I really appreciate, if there was one thing I appreciated from the live actions, it was the fact that Disney took 1 hour of the 2 hour production, 2.5 hour production, to explain the relationship between the fairy tale princess and their parents. So 1 hour of the movie explained how Cinderella was so in touch with her father and his feelings and his death, and how she eventually went on to become a princess and meet Prince Charming. I really appreciated that, and I really appreciate how they bring scenes that are so iconic, like the ballroom scene with Belle and the Beast, Cinderella and Prince Charming, to life in an unbelievable way. Here's a cool fact too that I don't think a lot of people know. In the live action for Cinderella, the fabric they used for the gown would literally take you 45 minutes to walk. So there's a sidewalk outside my house, outside my window there. So if I spread the entire gown along the sidewalk, it would take you 45 minutes to walk the full length of the fabric. That's, when you really think about that, that is amazing. And the music that brought the live actions to life, like the music from Celine Dion, Elton John, it was amazing. It was truly, truly amazing. And I think that music has always been an important part of all of our lives. I mean, who out there didn't have a CD player when you were a teenager? I remember in the 90s, when you didn't have a CD player, if you didn't have a CD player, you weren't considered cool. And I always remember music. Music still is a very important part of my life, but I always remember music being a huge part of my life. I mentioned here the other day, I was a huge fan of the Backstreet Boys, Westlife and NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. You know, there was always the argument, who was the better singer, Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera? Who was the better band, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? And I've been a fan of these guys right up until the point in time I saw them get their Hollywood Walk of Fame star. But the point I'm trying to make is, without music in our lives, what does that tell us about our story? What does that tell us about our legacies? Let me paint a picture here for you. If I stop talking with no voice, no audio, no music, no lyrics, what does that tell you about me? Snap our fingers and come back to reality after that brief moment of silence. It tells us nothing. Through the power of music, it is a way of communicating without using words, because you can tell what type of person is, what a person is feeling, what a person's personality is like, and it's a really good identification of what kind of relationships they have with their friends. And I really appreciate what music does for each and every one of us, and Disney has done a phenomenal job. No matter if you were a fan of Hakuna Matata, no matter if you were a fan of Let It Go, no matter if you were a fan of You Haven't Got a Friend Like Me, from the Genie from Aladdin in 1992, Robin Williams' portrayal of the Genie was great, although I really did appreciate Dan Castellanos too. And Descendants really elevated music for Disney musicals in a way that I don't think anything ever has. We've seen a lot of successful musicals. If not for the success of High School Musical, every other Disney Channel project would have probably failed off into obscurity. We know that. But songs like Life Are Sweeter When You Are, Fight of Our Lives, Chillin' Like a Villain, Rotten to the Core, these are songs that I think have inspired children from all walks of life, and I've really found time in appreciating that. I've also appreciated how the stars of the newer Descendants, like Kylie Control's dad, was also a movie actor. He was in Halloween House Party, produced by Disney a number of years ago. And it brought me back to some fond memories of being a kid, Halloween, you know, going out, getting so many treats. You'd have so many treats, you'd have to put it on the luggage rack of your parents' car and take it home. I did that more times than enough. I did it with my nephew, actually, a couple of years ago when Fortnite was a really big thing, and he was dressed up as a Fortnite character. I forget what Fortnite character he was dressed up as, and we went out and we got all kinds of treats. We threw it up on top of the car, and, you know, songs like Chillin' Like a Villain, Scary, Scary Skeleton and stuff that were created from Disney musicals were playing in your car. It was the time of your life, and I think a lot of people found time in appreciating that. So, here's the deal. I know I got a lot of Descendants fans. I know the majority of my subscribers are coming in because of Descendants content that I've been distributing on this YouTube channel for quite some time. I can't thank you enough. If you have a minute, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I found a new interview. I think you're really going to like it. It's a beautiful interview, a lot of really great questions asked in this interview, and I wanted to show it to you guys. I think it was done by Access Hollywood. So we're going to take a look at it, and I'm going to give you some narrative thoughts on it. But man, this cast is phenomenal. The chemistry, the friendships they exemplify, how much they were a fan of the original Descendants series. I mean, I don't care what they do with this. You're going to be a fan of this for the rest of your life. And if you're a family watching this video that have not seen Descendants, it comes as a highly recommendation from me to watch on Disney+. There are going to be so many chapters of this, it is going to be unbelievable. And the reason why I know there are going to be so many chapters of this, I studied folk literature in high school for a really long time, and I know the significance of the characters. I'll talk about that probably when I wrap the video up, but because of my study of folk literature over the years, it shows you a greater appreciation for characters that sometimes you may think significant, like gremlins and trolls, and the backstories of other characters that could be included in this franchise. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing Hercules in the Disney Descendants franchise. A more in-depth look at Hades, probably Ariel's daughter in this, because I was a huge fan of Little Mermaid and her ability to sing songs like Part of Your World, which was an iconic Disney song. I mean, nobody's going to argue that point. But I want you to watch this interview with me. I think it was a great interview. I think it was done by Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker when they were doing a lot of publicity for the media. I think in this one, too, they discussed the possibility of another Descendants movie, and I think this is going to answer a lot of questions that a lot of people have. Honestly, I am just as excited to watch this interview as all of you are. And some of you probably have already seen it, but you haven't seen a reaction video for it. So that's kind of what I wanted to give you guys. So if you want more reaction videos about Descendants and Zombies, please take a minute to hit my subscribe button, hit the like button, because you will not get reactions quite like this anywhere else on the internet. And I'm just as big of a fan of this as each and every one of you are. It is truly an honor and a privilege of mine to be able to come into the homes of so many families and present my thoughts on this. And I just want to thank YouTube and the YouTube algorithm for giving me the opportunity to do this. This has been so much fun for me as a YouTube creator, and I'm going to say that again. This has been so much fun for me as a YouTube creator, and I just hope that I can keep having the opportunity to do this, because, man, I've been a fan of Disney and Marvel. A lot of people checked out of the Marvel Universe when we saw all this multi-universe stuff, more than one Spider-Man, more than one Captain America. But honestly, when Disney bought it all and bought Fox, I checked in. When a lot of you checked out, I checked in, because this stuff is amazing. And it's so much fun to watch, and I'm just as excited as all of you are to be watching this for the first time. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to check this stuff out. Give me a second here to make a big screen for you guys. And I want your thoughts in the comments. Please take a minute to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. This is going to be a whole lot of fun.
So fans are so excited about the Descendants and Zombies Worlds Collide tour. How are you feeling? This is such an exciting opportunity, I feel like.
Oh my gosh, it is so exciting. My little self is freaking out. I've always dreamt of going on tour one day, and let alone getting to do it in this way of like singing rotten to the core and like these iconic Descendants and Zombies songs that I grew up loving is like surreal.
It's a very much like a dream come true. I remember.
Again, it goes back to my point of how appreciative the characters are of the newer franchise of what the original franchise gave us. I know there are a lot of fans out there of the original cast of Descendants, but you can't help but find time in appreciating how much the newer cast appreciates how much of an inspiration people like Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Boo Boo Stewart were to their choice to be in this movie franchise when they were given the opportunity. I think Kylie was only 9 years old when she used to watch the original Descendants, and that tells you how much I followed this franchise to know all these little backdrops of info. But I think some of these characters that are in the newer franchise were only 9 years old, and just seeing how kind they are and how appreciative they are of this opportunity really is a blessing, in all honesty. It's so much fun to watch their reactions.
I remember singing those songs at the top of my lungs in my kitchen with my sister. So now doing it in front of like a stadium audience is just such a crazy reality. So it's amazing.
Now, break down exactly how are worlds going to collide on stage. Are there going to be any crossover songs? Like, how is this playing out?
I've been trying to get everything. Yeah,
like what's the real
the entire thing. No, I think well, from what I've heard, from what I've seen a little bit, worlds will literally and figuratively collide, and I will leave that up to interpretation. So
We can't spill
give
everything, girl.
Get the tickets. Get the tickets.
It's gonna be a little. It's gonna be a little wicked. It's gonna be a little zombie, a little red, a little green, a little bit of everything.
I'm excited to see how it all plays out on stage.
Obviously, they know how this is choreographed because there are months and months and months that go into the preparation of a world tour. I mean, you're obviously not just going to come in on stage and go with the flow. So you know. So they're, kind of kayfabing what they're going to do. Of course, kayfabing is an old saying that was used in the wrestling industry years ago when they'd have a match, I don't know, between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. And they knew who was going to win the match. Like, say, for example, in the newer generation of wrestling, they would kayfabe if John Cena, for kids who are fans of John Cena, was going to lose a match. And that's what they're doing here. They're covering up what they're going to be doing. They obviously know it. But as a fan of it, you're excited for this presentation on stage for crossover opportunities. And ultimately, that's what I'm excited for, is to see a crossover opportunity. And I hope we get more than one of them as we progress through this tour from state to state.
Walk me behind what the prep has been like for this. Like, how have you been rehearsing? Like, how's that all been? I'm sure there's been a lot going into this.
I feel like it was honestly very similar to like our training for the movie. Like, we're in our hardcore dance rehearsals, recording the music and like getting our vocals, our stamina ready. I feel like there's so much that goes into doing a tour like this where we're going to be performing, every night for this extended period of time. So I think it's like, yeah, we're in a bit of like a boot camp right now.
I mean, it's essential. When people say, like, I'm getting tour ready, they don't mean, like, I'm just, like, mentally preparing. You do have to mentally prepare, but there's also that physicality with it, too, that really shows up. I mean, we're doing 43 shows right now.
Oh, my
in,
gosh.
like, 2 months?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't even know how time really works that
And
way.
singing, dancing, like, you do it all. Like, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
And it's like, it's athletic. It's like, we need to pump that iron, get on that regimen.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
And also, both of your fashion is so fierce. Can you tease any of the looks that you're going to be rocking on stage?
That's a really great question. I would love to know, too.
I was like, Malia, do you know? I was like, was that not on that email?
No, I honestly, we don't know much yet. I think they're all going to be kind of nods to our characters.
Top secret.
Which is nice.
Top
Very
secret.
top secret. But of course, like, we come from that franchise. We're going to show up how we do.
Show up and show out.
Show up and show out. That's how we're going to show
That's
up.
the goal.
Yeah.
Well,
To
I'm
serve
sure
diva.
you're gonna serve. You're gonna slay. It's gonna be great. I'm excited to see. Are there any songs that you're excited to perform?
Okay, there's a duet.
Okay.
Well, of course, Fight of Our Lives is like
Okay,
a given, like
yes,
iconic
but
for sure.
this isn't from our movie. That's a good.
Okay.
That's
And
a
we
good
pushed for this. We were like,
That's
fought
exciting.
for this song.
we have to do this song as a duet. Like, this was, something that both of us were like,
referencing so much, like
Has to happen.
the years before too. We were like, actually, but yeah.
Now, I do have to ask about the movie because fans are obsessed with Rise of the Red. All the fans love.
The thing about a duet is, I think a lot of people find time in appreciating duets. I know I have, because I remember a duet that was done by Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey for Aladdin. They remade the Whole New World song. And it's one thing to hear Jessica Simpson's voice on a song, but when you throw Nick Lachey's voice in as the voice of Aladdin, it really brings a song to life. So I think we can never get enough duets when we see either on-stage productions, live-action movies, animated classics. It's amazing when you hear it on the soundtrack and the final product is eventually released to the world.
Love it. Are you excited for potentially a sequel? Would you be down for that?
I would be down.
Girl, what greenlit? We're doing it.
She's like, my bags are already packed.
Yes,
Where
I'm
have you
so
been?
ready. I'm like so excited to do that. I'm excited to like be back on screen with you. I feel like I keep joking. It's gonna be so funny actually trying to, I don't know, act with you now because
It's so, I was just thinking about this because I'm so used to just hanging out with you as my friend that I'm like, wait, I have to go back to you being my coworker?
colleagues now.
My colleague? Like us actually working on set again? I'm so excited though. I'm excited to put that red back on.
Yeah.
Now, I know you can't really tease anything plot-wise, but what are you hoping for your characters to maybe get to explore more in the sequel?
If every time you see
Again, going back to the kayfabe thing, the kayfabe thing is so appreciative sometimes because they have to do that. So you're an interviewer and you're sitting there and you're wanting to ask questions but you know you can't, and that's one of the most frustrating things. When I podcasted years ago, and I'd interview somebody, you wanted to ask questions but you couldn't because you had to always play up to the kayfabe for the purposes of the script and stuff. It was honestly so much fun doing it. Honestly.
See an ad, you just wanna. You need a download Pi. It's a free Chrome extension that blocks ads on all.
I think for Red, I think it's cool because, you know, we age off screen and our characters also age, which is cool. And I think like showing just that gradual evolution of like Red becoming a young woman and like Chloe becoming a young woman and their friendship and bond, and also Red's relationship with her mom, and these different characters have evolved so much and have gone through such an arc in the first film, so I'm really excited for people to see kind of how those relationships evolve.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly what Kylie said. I think that was perfectly put. I'm excited to see how our relationship develops. I'm excited to see what the present day now looks like, coming back from time. I mean, time travel is tricky. Some things, are they going to be the same? Are they going to be completely different? I'm excited to see our mothers again, a little Rita and Brandy. Oh, God. They're so wonderful. I'm excited to be working with them. So, yeah, it'll be very fun to see how it all pieces together. I'm excited for you guys to hear it all.
Now, the Descendants world, there's obviously so many iconic like Disney characters that pop up in the Descendants world. Is there any Disney character that you would love to see, like just personally, that's one of your favorites that you'd love to make an appearance?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I know there are so many.
Pinocchio! I've said this in so
Hercules. Put Hercules in the Descendants franchise. Hercules. I can't emphasize that enough. Does anyone know how important Hercules is to the Disney franchise? Hercules is in every video game. He is in everything. Like, put him in the Descendants franchise. You realize how many action scenes we could have, how many fun moments we could have, how funny of a character he is. Cast me as Mighty Hercules. Honestly. Like, seriously. Hercules is one of my all-time favorite Disney characters. I remember one time I did a whole video on Hercules. It was like 50 minutes. Hercules, without a doubt. Honestly. Stop laughing. We had like a minute left.
so many interviews. It was a random thing ever. This girl said, like your life depends on it.
But it's true. And we did do an interview with a guy one day that we thought we could cast.
Okay.
Like, I'm busy and later this year. You could play Pinocchio.
I don't know. I feel like he'd be a fun one.
He would be a fun one.
Yeah. I will submit that too, Pinocchio.
Okay.
We're all for Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We want to see if people are liars. So we need to know. We need to know. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you both have become such big like role models for so many young people who are fans of the franchise. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's huge. It's to think of how we thought of the Descendants cast growing up and how much we loved them and looked up to them. It was everything for 7th grade us. So to now think of the roles being reversed and being able to pass it down to a generation, and having Chai in particular being the one to like pass down the torch to us and let us go on this tour and see this whole new magical world, it's an honor, truly. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really special. And even I was just thinking about this because I was like, oh my god, as we're about to leave for tour, I was like, this will be a lot of kids' first concerts, and like this, like we are marking these like pivotal moments for so many people,
Creating so many memories for like young people, like iconic childhood.
Like you
memories.
never forget like your 5th birthday party or like you know your first concert. So the fact that we'll get to be that for a group of kids, or even if it was just for one kid, I think it's like really special to have that impact.
Now, speaking of the tour, could you describe it in 3 words?
I'll say zombie. I'll say zombie. I'll say just zombies descending wickedly.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say collision. Zombies descending. That's better. Zombies descending in a collision. This sounds like honestly a natural disaster. No. Something along those lines. What would you say, Malia?
I would say, I'd say family. I'd say
Okay, Vin Diesel.
We love a Fast and Furious reference.
I think family, big, and I'd say loud.
That was a whole lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me for that. If you get a minute, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Give me a sec to switch over to the other program here, and we'll close this thing out. If you get a minute, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's start campaigning for Hercules to get into this Descendants franchise. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know about you guys and how you feel about Hercules, but I think Hercules needs to get into the Descendants franchise beyond a shadow of a doubt, because the opportunity to create action, suspense, make it a bit of a thriller, you know, I think Disney needs to call me up to be the director of this thing, because I think I would have a whole lot of fun producing it, and I'd make a whole lot of fun for a whole lot of kids. I've always wanted the opportunity to be the voice of an animated character for Descendants, or have the opportunity to create as a producer, because I think there's so much I can offer to it. But guys, for those of you who don't know, folk literature is such a huge part of fairy tale telling. And if you study it for years, you'll come out of it appreciating the backstories of gremlins, trolls, characters that you didn't think were so significant to stories. So because of how many characters are in folk literature, you learn to appreciate them, and you know how much fairy tales can be expanded off of. And if there ever was an opportunity to expand off of a franchise, the opportunity is presented with the creators of Descendants. And I hope Jennifer Fang, who is the new producer of this, realizes it and gives you guys what you want, because you deserve the best franchise possible, and obviously Disney's going full throttle with this, and I can't thank you enough for how much you appreciate it. And let's see where we go from here with Descendants 5. There's going to be a lot to talk about throughout the summer and the coming months, so I hope you guys can join me for what's going to be an incredible experience for all of us as we examine more in detail about Descendants. But again, guys, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button. Keep doing that. And the more you keep doing that, the more great content I'm going to distribute. I think I'm in the mood to create a video on Hercules. Actually, the other day, me and a friend of mine were actually watching footage of the original Hercules video game on PlayStation, and it brought back so many childhood memories for us. Every day we literally sit down, we talk about video games, and he tells me about his favorite video games. I tell him about my favorite video games. Hercules all the way for Descendants, guys. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like buttons by YouTube. We will see you again next time. Thanks for watching.